The other day, my wife and I were watching a documentary on penguins. You see, we're birders and penguins are birds. You may not agree, but they are. Anyway, the narrator's voice seemed vaguely familiar. Our daughter walked into the room and immediately said, "That's so-and-so," gave his name, narrating. Well, sure enough, as we watched the credits at the end, she was correct. She had recognized his voice. Here's a question for all of us. Do we recognize God's voice when He speaks to us? When Samuel was a boy, he didn't recognize God's voice when God spoke to him 3 different times. But later, as a prophet, he was the mouthpiece through which God spoke to an entire nation because he heard and recognized God's voice. Learning to recognize God's voice isn't a skill that's acquired overnight because He speaks to us at different times, in different ways, and in different settings. Recognizing God's voice requires, number 1, spiritual maturity. Jesus said in John 10:4, "The sheep follow Him," that is, follow the shepherd, "for they know His voice." Notice He said His sheep, not His lambs. They know His voice. Baby sheep follow adult sheep until their senses are trained, so they recognize the voice of the shepherd. That means we need to grow spiritually so that we can recognize God's voice, that is, our shepherd's voice. Recognizing God's voice also requires, number 2, not being limited by our previous experiences. When God spoke to Moses, the mountain shook. When He spoke to Elijah, it was a quiet, gentle voice. Don't limit God. He speaks through His Word, through His Holy Spirit, through mature believers, through dreams, through desires, even through our pain. The key is to stay close to God, mature in our faith, and always be listening. So I challenge us, turn off the TV, mute the smartphone, silence the social media, separate ourselves from others. We need to listen to and for the voice of God. God bless you.